since it's another day, billions will kneel and pray. Anything to aid escape from the world so cold and gray.
It's good, boy.
And we're back. We're here on this episode of Bones and Tubs, coming to you through your speakers, into your earballs.
Into the earwaves. Earwaves.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a long week. I feel
It's
like.
always a long week up until this episode.
They're getting longer.
Longer and longer.
You think it's something to do with the beam?
Time dilation. Yeah.
Some sort of a reference to be made to the Dark Tower. Not that
Yeah.
shitty movie.
Oh, Jesus.
But, you know.
I watched
books.
that in that long week. I watched that shitty movie finally. Ugh.
I like to
Wow.
think that if your life was similar to a Sims game, if you sat down to view that movie, you would go from like super happy to sad instantly and then kill yourself. Because that was the worst fucking movie I've ever seen.
Terrible.
Even to the layman.
Yeah. But,
I'm glad to know that you hated it as much as I did.
oh yeah. We got a great episode this week.
We do. Our topic is the real ID.
The Real ID. And do we want to talk about
It's not going to make it in the title, though.
CA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not going to make it in the title.
Okay. But we'll be talking about citizen's arrest as well.
Yeah.
But the Real ID, that's the issue of the day.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. Now, here's the thing. In reality, you don't hear too many people talking about this, but it is older. It's
Yeah.
been going on since 2005.
Would you like a history lesson?
You could give us one real quick.
Okay. I sat up last night and, did the due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it was from House Resolution, or H.R. 418, which passed the House and then stagnated in the Senate. This was shortly after 9/11, because we never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah, I mean, that was like 4 years on, but we're still doing flipping shit like that.
Yeah. So eventually, the way they passed it, which is awesome, it's really great, because this is why we shouldn't have laws in the first place. What they did was they attached it to H.R. 1268, which was a military spending bill that could not pass.
Yeah.
And, of course, it was passed with no public hearings on May 11, 2005. Signed into law by dear leader Bush. So, here we are. But luckily, I would say luckily, I guess, but it hasn't been fully implemented yet because everybody's been fighting it.
Yeah.
Except now it's down to I think there's maybe only American Samoa that's not on board.
Yeah.
50 out of the 56 territories.
Way to go, Samoa. Way to go. You're still fighting the good fight over there.
Before we get into the long, arduous process of the details, basically, the quick cliff notes, you're going to have to get this, I believe, starting in June or July this year in Ohio. It's different by state. Other states might already require it. But you have to take, let me see here, shuffling paper sounds. In order to get your Real ID, you will have to go to the links of producing a Social Security card, birth certificate, 2 proofs of registry, rather. And then you don't get your ID. You get a temporary ID, and the Real ID is mailed to you within 10 days.
Nice.
And Ron Paul was quoted as saying back in 2006 that this is control, this is slavery, and if you allow this to happen, eventually they will require a blood sample, retina scan, fingerprint, and a biometric scan of your face.
They're already doing scans of your face. This shit has been going on a while, and unfortunately, this has been a slow bleed.
Yeah.
This is how they like doing things in all reality. Like, they love the slow game.
Right.
Breed generations of people that are totally on board with it. And the problem is
not
that
fully pass it until they're eating Tide Pods.
Unfortunately, this is going to be used as a tool to be like, hey, this will stem the tide of illegal immigration because only citizens can have these IDs.
Well, it's going to stop all terrorism too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because terrorism.
Show me your papers.
Yeah.
Show me your papers.
We were against national papers, right?
Yeah.
Requirement of proving who you are at any given moment. Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
But now we're just cool with it.
Apparently.
To stop terrorism.
Safety.
Just like every dystopian novel you'll read.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. We have to do it because of terrorism.
Terrorism.
Fuck me.
Yeah. That's what it's. The thing is, like, and the thing is this has been going on for so long now that we never even noticed it.
Right.
Until yesterday when you broached the subject with me.
Jess sent it to me.
I know. Thank you, Jess.
One of our fantastic Patreon supporters.
Yeah. Speaking of which, hey, go check out Patreon.
Yeah. Patreon.com/bones and tips.
Yeah.
But she sent it to me, and it was like, if your mind is an attic filled with dusty boxes, she shined a flashlight onto a box that I've been thoroughly in before, and I've forgotten all about it. It kind of upsets me, honestly, that I let this one go as long as I did.
I mean, like I said, it's been a slow bleed, so you don't even notice it.
Right. There's just so much goddamn tyranny everywhere.
Yeah.
That you can't...
Well, they brought it... They basically, like I said, it was a slow bleed, and you didn't notice it, and the thing is it's a system that they kind of already have in place.
Yeah.
Like, driver's license, that's... You go get that renewed every couple of years. You know what I mean? You don't think about it.
Well,
but they're taking your picture.
Yeah. You're not just your picture, though. Your real picture.
Yeah.
The one that actually steals your soul.
Yeah. So, like, and then this kind of carries off into the E-Verify thing that I found, which was basically, it was the E version of this. So, like, because I guess they figured, like, more or less, like, if the real ID is the show me your papers, please, this is just
show me your fucking papers.
This is just papers.
Yeah.
Because you don't
papers. Because
the thing is, they don't, like, E-Verify, it's facial ID scans that are done through remote cameras and through surveillance.
Yeah.
So they can literally track your movements from place to place and know where you're going. And it also applies to the license readers on the back of cop cars that they have now.
Yeah.
So it literally just logs all this data so that any given time...
fuck the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, any given time, they could, like, type in someone's data and they'll start... Pinpoints will start coming up. He was here, he was here, he was here, he was here.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know how far off we are. I'm sure the NSA is already completely...
As I say, they already got us pinned.
Or the NRO, or the organization that hasn't quite been declassified yet. They have fully married all government entities and all corporations. Because if you look at Google Maps on your phone, we've talked about this before, but it logs every single place you've been ever.
Yeah.
Where you stopped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I remember when I first discovered this was, all of a sudden I just got home from work and my phone dinged. Bing! And I'm like, what the fuck? Look at it. It says, you got home 3 minutes quicker than you normally do.
Yeah.
Like,
what the fuck?
So you log every day I go home, like, go to work. It knows where work is. It knows where home is. It gets that.
Right.
The algorithm figured out.
Well, they said that there's a Google article you can find if you go to Google and type in Google knows 80%, I think is what I typed in. But it pulls up an article that says that Google can predict within 80 or 90% variability where you're going to be at any given time.
Yeah.
Because humans are slaves.
Why?
To pattern.
That's the question I ask. Why?
Right.
Why do they need to know that? They don't need to know that.
Is it crazy though that we've accepted this? Like, you literally will not be able to do anything without a real ID, travel wise.
Yeah.
At all.
Show me your papers.
There won't be a regular driver's license. It's just real ID. Without a real ID, you can't get on a fucking plane.
Oh, man. And, and this goes hand in hand with something I heard the other day, and I hadn't heard it in a while. But I feel like everyone's kind of thinking it most of the time anyways. Like, not everybody, but some people, unfortunately. Yeah. And it had to do with the Factory of Sadness.
Yeah.
And the person who's in the front of the building was lamenting the fact that they have to search through things so thoroughly.
The doorman?
Not the doorman.
Someone in the doorman's position?
The other doorman.
I see.
But, and, he was lamenting the fact that he has to do it. That's part of his job, right?
Sure. It's what you voluntarily signed up for.
And then someone who had been walking through said, oh, I don't care. I have nothing to hide.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. You shouldn't have a problem with having real face scanners on the streets, or driver's plate readers everywhere.
Kill all others.
Yeah. They talked about this, and I need to read this book again and write down some quotes, because Mark Dice wrote a book, The Orwellian Society, like fucking 12 or 15 years ago. and he was calling shit in there that is like already happened now, but is just now being passed with like Real ID. He was like, picture in your mind, if you will, you go to Chili's, wherever the fuck it is you want to go, Applebee's, and you're in there for, you know, what's an average meal?
I mean, I guess 30, 40, $50, something like that. Maybe.
Time-wise, though, an hour.
Oh, hour or so. Yeah.
Let's say you stay in there for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You've automatically gone past the normal amount of time spent. So Google Maps can somehow tie in with the license plate readers that are on every traffic light.
Mm-hmm.
And they just say, hey, this guy pulled into Applebee's approximately 2 hours and 10 minutes ago. He hasn't been using his phone, so he's been doing something inside that's kept his attention.
Yeah.
And then now he's just leaving. So it's kind of interesting because he fits the criteria for an OVI stop because it's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Which most OVIs happen Friday night, weekends, holidays, you know.
And then
they just dispatch a cop to your location.
To your run-of-the-mill statey, their simple reply would be, well, I don't drink and drive, so I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have nothing to hide, so I don't mind being stopped and frisked.
Yeah.
And asked where my papers are, because I ain't no goddamn terrorist.
Fuck that shit.
Right. Leave me the fuck alone.
It's not about having nothing to hide.
Right.
It's about them having no right to do it in the first place.
We talked about in Raw, the Adam Kokesh channel on YouTube, and everybody should check it out. Check out some of his encounters with the law. He's gotten so many fucking arrests, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, every single one of them, it points out that if there's no victim, what is the fucking deal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get it. If you're tanked and you pull out a fucking Applebee's after you just did like 17 margaritas and 3 lines of Coke in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you plow into a fucking somebody and kill them. That's a different crime.
Yeah.
That's murder.
Yeah.
And you should be charged for murder.
Or you just plow into someone else's property.
Right.
Destruction of property. That's
a crime.
That's a crime.
An actual crime.
That's an actual crime.
But to be stopped and pulled over and be like, well, let's see, the state has agreed with lobbyist groups that 0.08, soon to be 0.06, is the legal limit. You blew a 0.09, so now we're going to take your freedom.
It's where the philosophy about being proactive or reactive comes in. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to be proactive because they have lobbyists that come to them and say, we have to stop this from happening.
Right.
Right. But the problem is
the monies we'll make.
Yeah. Or think of the children, or think of anything else you can think of that's going to help any of this situation. Well, at the end of the day, if you were adamant purporters of investing people in their own lives and telling them, like, hey, you know, you have responsibility.
Yeah.
Be responsible. Don't drink and drive because it's fucking stupid.
See, we're talking about all these things that, you know, that I was curious and I was concerned about privacy when I heard about the Department of Homeland Security wanting to pass the Real ID Act, because I thought, are they building a national database?
They say no.
Well, I went to their website and they said they're not. So that must mean they're not.
But what else would they? That's the thing, though. Like, that's you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could say that all day, but we know what you're doing.
Yeah, we know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Did you know that the DHS now has the ability to take your license from you?
Really?
Yeah. I got some figures here.
And what's just before the figures? What's the reason they would take someone's?
Well, let's give a time-tested example.
Okay.
Of something that the DHS would use. No-fly list.
Okay.
So you get put on a list because you're a subversive or a quote-unquote terrorist.
Yeah.
There's no one you can call and talk to and ask, like, how did I get on the list? How do I get off the list?
Yeah.
Because I can't fly. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's already happening. That's been happening for quite a while.
Yeah.
But let's see. Department of Homeland Security and Tennessee have suspended more than 250,000 driver's licenses.
250?
250,000.
250,000.
Quarter million.
Shit.
And do you want to know why?
Why?
Unpaid tickets.
That's it?
Yeah. 250,000 drivers unpaid tickets. In a lot of cases, they were too poor to pay the tickets. So they took... See, this is what happens when you turn a right into a privilege when you ask for a license.
Yeah.
Right? So you give up your right to travel unimpeded, and you turn it into a privilege. Yeah. You allow them to license you to do it. and now they're taking 250,000 driver's licenses for unpaid tickets. No victim. There's no victim. There's no victim.
They were driving, as what the state would say, excessively fast.
They've decided that they can't tax us enough, right?
Yeah.
We've already raped the dollar bill and its buying power since 1913 with the Federal Reserve. It's less than 90% of its buying power. They tax us at 30% roughly of our income, and that's not considering fuel tax, consumption taxes, and all that. So now it's taxation through citation.
Yeah.
They'll just tax you because your goddamn
But that's the thing, though. Like,
your brake light was out.
and I guess at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. Because I was gonna make a differentiate between citation and taxation, but they're kind of the same thing because it's all just fleecing.
Right, it's fleecing the sheep.
Yeah. It's not anything different.
Just imagine
I feel like it's a dirtier version because it's their hired highwaymen
highwaymen.
coming for you and taking their toll.
They're the knights of the new age. You know? Knights used to go around and enforce law of the king. And now we have highwaymen
Yeah.
in positions of power. It's fucking crazy.
I mean, they didn't really change much. They call themselves the Highway Patrol.
Yeah,
They patrol the highways.
that's what they do.
That's not like, it's not some big skip, but everybody suddenly thinks that, like, you know, we need to watch out for them, but they're working for the people that fleece us.
I just hope that these cops understand that they're not doing, you know, like you ask a cop, why did you become a cop? And a lot of the quote unquote good ones will tell you, like, I wanted to help my community. You know, these problems are out of control. Well, guess what? You're not doing that.
No.
You know, you might do a little bit of good here and there, but you're enforcing laws that politicians put into place to fleece the population. You're a slave master, is all you are.
Yeah.
The more I think about it, the more I'm agreeing with Pascal that, like, the people that just blindly accept the thing of order follower are the closest of minds.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
It's sad.
It really is
because
sad.
it always came, for a lot of them, it always came from a place of wanting to help. But the problem is that they have, I saw something the other day that I thought was great. It had a picture of the side of a cop car.
Yeah.
And it said, protect and serve in quotation marks.
Right.
And they said they're not even trying to be ironic about what they're really about.
Yeah.
They're like, they put protect and serve in quotation marks like it's supposed to be ironic that's
to
what they're
protect and serve.
Yeah. Oh,
Air
yeah.
quotes.
Yeah. Like they're saying it, like if they said it out loud, they'd be saying it with a grin on their face and winking at you at the same time.
As they fucking frisk you and throw meth in your pocket. Look what I found in your pocket there, Joey.
Yeah.
You going down to the slammer. You know? God
So
damn
okay,
it.
so you I did actually have an encounter with casting some pearls and actually having them appreciated the other day.
Okay.
And you would find it strange the place I found them, and we'll have to edit out the name because this is our regular show. If we were talking about it on Raw, I wouldn't have any fear, but on the regular show I can't disperse anybody's name.
Right.
But it was one of our supervisors at the Factory Sadness.
Okay.
But we were talking.
What I've been doing is just reversing it.
Okay.
Have you listened to any of them?
Oh, I do. Actually, I just listened to some. I just listened to the last one this morning, and I wanted to tell you, just on a sidebar, your editing skills are on fleek. The beginning part where you fade out the song and start the audio is.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
The one before, I noticed, like the one before the Crowley episode. I'm sorry, we're talking about this, and people are like, God, I don't fucking. But the Crowley episode, it was perfect. It was perfect the way you did it.
Listen, but I always just slide it over the music.
Yeah, and the last one was good. It kind of cut out at the end. It started, but that's okay. I mean, it was good still. But the Crowley one was fucking on point. But so, anyways, we started talking, and we started talking about the Factory of Sadness. We started talking about how, like, basically 50% to 60% of the people that are in there don't need to be in there, that they don't deserve to be in there because the crimes that they're committing aren't really crimes.
If you go to the screen in the factory spreadsheet program, it'll tell you that there was no victim.
Yeah.
Those kinds.
Yeah. So, and it started with that, and then I started I was like, because sometimes like if you're talking to somebody, if they don't feel receptive, that's what I've started to do. If I start kind of injecting the truth to them, and it seems like they're not receptive to it, I'll pull back and I'll just like change the subject.
It's a trap.
But this one, she was receptive. So I started like, because she already had that mentality that like the system's fucked.
Yeah.
That there was a quote unquote industrial complex going on in that system, right? Mm-hmm. So I told her, I started injecting her with it more. I was like, do you notice? I was like, that this whole system is built around the notion. I was like, it's not even about. I was like, take away what you've been told about race and stuff like that. I was like, it's about class.
That's all it is.
I was like,
right.
The system that has been brought up in our prison system is about class.
And it's just a micro version of the macro, which is society.
Yeah, I was like...
It's the same.
I was like, we don't... and I was like, we don't live in a democracy or a republic. I was like, we live in an oligarchy. And she didn't know what an oligarchy was. And I explained to her what it was. And she was like, yeah, you're completely right. I was like, we're ruled by rich people.
Check out the Bones and Tubs podcast.
Oh, shit. You know what I mean?
She knows that we podcast? I'm sure she does.
I don't know if she knows or not. She knows I'm right.
Ah.
Which she's asked me about that before, too. Because she was wondering about it as well. Because we've had long talks about human rights. Like, we've talked about humanity. Yeah. And we've talked about, like, the worst parts of humanity and how, like, the worst parts have been justified in the past, like, i.e. slavery.
Yeah, well, it was legal.
Yeah.
Through law.
It was through law, legal.
Because people wrote words on paper and then referred to the paper, right? I mean, that's what law is.
Yeah. And decided that, you know, it's okay to, you know, literally hold another human being in bondage.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like I said, it was great because that was the casting point. That was where it started deriving. And I even injected some Federal Reserve talk to her.
Oh, that's good.
Because it went to that point. I was like, you know, in reality, I was like, there might have been a time where we might have been quasi close to what should have been. I was like, and then it just fell off. I was like, do you want to pinpoint where it fell off? Right. And I told her, you know,
1913.
Fucking Federal Reserve.
Yeah, here we are.
Oh, I sound like Alex Jones there for a minute.
Man, how did you feel about his video?
Oh my God,
I liked it. He's a fucking madman. You're right.
Listen, man.
But listen, that shit was funny. And
it was funny, but I'm not an Alex Jones guy.
Right. I'm not. I wouldn't say I am either, but I still like some of his shit. I told Elmo when I sent him the video, like, you know, who he was. I was like, he has exposed a lot of things before they came out. You know, he's also fucking insane.
Yeah.
But now he's like completely against Trump because of this one action.
Because of Syria.
Right.
Which that's the thing. He should have been. The problem is like, and we'll say it here right now, fucking, there has never been a time, I think, when the Buzz and Tuss podcast was ever 100% on board on the Trump train.
No, the only time I was ever on the Trump train, I always said it's only for chaos.
Exactly. That's where we've always been.
I've never been like, well, we got to get that Trump in there because he's going to be better than Hillary Clinton.
We got to get them immigrants out of our country. We got to put up a wall and blah, 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 blah.
I realized yesterday the only political shirt, normally I have some political shirts, you know, Obama Joker, things like that. The only political shirt that I purchased during this entire shitstorm has been the Hillary from prison.
Yeah.
Because that bitch needs to go to prison.
Yeah. They all need to go to prison.
They all need to go to prison. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't even know if prison's good enough for them at this point.
That's the best thing. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, this kind of ties into that we were talking before about wanting to talk about citizen's arrest. Mm-hmm. They tried to citizen's arrest Karl Rove. Mm-hmm. Did you read about that?
No.
There were 3 or 4 anti-war activists that attempted a citizen's arrest on Karl Rove for war crimes.
Yeah. Which
is, you know, not just something you get a prison sentence for.
Yeah. Usually you know.
You take the long ride down a stiff rope.
As I say, yeah, you take a rope ride on that motherfucker.
But that's what it's coming down to, man. We're so close. I mean, they're literally, they've just passed this ID thing, you know, in 2005, and now it's 2018, and they're implementing it, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to give a blood sample eventually. You're going to have to give, you're already given your facial scan, which is going to be used, and like you said, E-Verify, remote hidden cameras to do anything. At any time, they could come at you and be like, hey, the Department of Homeland Security decided to revoke your real ID, and you can no longer drive, fly, ride on a boat. You can't do anything. You're stuck. You can't work. So what? You fucking starve to death.
Yeah.
Or you end up in their prison system because you decided to tip the black market. Mm-hmm. Right? We've gotten to the point where it's time to literally look at these laws and be like, just because you motherfuckers came together, even in a democracy,
Yeah.
mob rule. They decided that to write words on paper.
Yeah.
And that you will pay the brunt if you do any of those. You know, if you go against any of those words on paper,
Mm-hmm.
I'll lock you in a goddamn cage. Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's time for assassination politics.
Oh, definitively.
It's time for citizens' arrest. And the reason why I didn't want to make citizens' arrest a part of the topic, because the cops have no, like, it's like we talked about before. You can't give somebody power you don't already have, right? Even as a collective. The cops aren't doing anything more than we're doing. They have the same common law and natural law powers that the citizens have. If you see or witness or have probable cause to believe someone has performed something like a violent crime or a felony, you have the right to detain them.
Yeah. You have that right.
That's all the cops do. You have the right in most states, like in Ohio, for example, to open carry a firearm, which is what the police do.
Which, I tell you what, though, I think half people don't do it simply because you get some side eyes from people
I like doing
open
it.
carrying. But I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I'll see someone do it, and I'll be like, fucking right on, dude.
I like doing it, man. I've gotten into so many conversations about it just by putting a gun on
Yeah.
and carrying it around. I've got my concealed carry because I like to turn rights into privileges.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I was at a gas station one time, and this cop was in there doing some chomo stuff.
Yeah.
He was chatting up these clearly high school girls.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's like kind of fat and out of shape and sloppy looking.
Yeah.
And these girls are just eating up the fact that he's got authority
Yeah.
and power.
Power.
And they see me walk in and I've got a gun on my hip. And they just kind of watch me as I walk back and get my fucking gallon of water. And they're like, how can he do that? How can he do that? And he's like, well, he's probably got a license. And I was like, a license? License for what? I'm like, you a new cop? You just get out of the academy? They didn't tell you about Ohio's open carry law?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I knew that you had open carry. I just meant like carried in your car. I was like, well, you see me get out of my car?
How the fuck else am I supposed to carry it, stupid?
You can't carry it in your car under the Ohio law. Not on your hip.
Where do you have to put it?
If you don't have
For
a
all of
concealed
our
carry,
listeners out there.
if you don't have a concealed carry license in Ohio, you have to carry the firearm in a vehicle the same way that you would carry a firearm in a vehicle. Like, it has to be unloaded, and the magazine has to be in a separate, not accessible location as the firearm.
Okay, so
And it can't be on your person. as
for any
far
of
as I
you
know.
out there, basically what you can do is if you wanted to open carry and you're in your car, is to remove the magazine and eject the shell. If I would assume you have one in the pipe.
You might as well. Otherwise, you're carrying a paperweight.
Yeah. And then place the magazine in the trunk.
Mm.
Because, I mean...
But if every single person decided to carry a firearm and say the magic word,
Yeah.
no. Anytime they got stopped, then that would go
Like,
away.
I think there's... But the thing is, like, let me kind of, like, adjust the rhythm on this just a little bit here.
Getting a little heavy.
No, I think that, like, okay, so if you want to open carry a pistol, a handgun,
carry a
just for everyday, like, you know, walking around or whatever, that's cool. But my problem comes from, you see people posting videos or pictures of dudes rocking a fucking rifle, like walking around with a fucking rifle strapped to them. Okay, legal, yes.
Not a violation of natural law.
But it's garish, and it goes against my austeric nature. Like, do you need that now?
Right, but would you ever try and pass a law to stop someone from doing it?
No, but
And if they're inducing panic, that's a crime.
but I would say, I would tell the person, I admire I admire it, but you are being bougie.
And the next thing you see and hear is Allahu Akbar.
Mhm.
You know, he lights you up.
Well, not if I got my gun on me too.
That's true.
But I would say you're being a little bougie right now.
Bougie.
You need to dial it back. You know, you're not, this isn't a defensive tactic. This isn't a fucking maneuver. You know, a Glock works pretty good.
I like to see it. That's where we differ.
Sorry, it's so bougie though.
I'm not mad at you.
It's where we differ. And that's okay. I'm fine with that.
I think,
I find it a bit garish.
You know what I really like is when we had that almost civil war happen. Was that last summer? Over the Bundy thing?
There was the Bundy thing. That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
You might be thinking about like
The one where they were standing off and they had citizen snipers with rifles trained on the cops from a overpass.
trying to think what that is now. Last year was like Charlottesville and shit.
Nah, it must have been 2 years ago. It was Bundy. I'll have to
Yeah.
pull the pictures up. But they had a line, and these guys told them, like citizens told these cops, these feds, they're like, you're not coming over here. And
Yeah.
each one of them had a firearm. Some of them had rifles, you know, fully, what are they saying now in the media? Fully automatic, semi-automatic rifle?
Yeah.
Or a fully
A
semi-automatic
full
rifle?
semi-automatic rifle.
Silly ass. With extended magazines, you know, all the terror words. But they basically, they drew a line. They were like, no, you're not fucking coming over here, and you're not fucking taking whatever it is you're trying to take. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And then the picture that they took for the paper and the magazine was awesome because it was like an overpass right behind wherever these guys drew the line. And there was dudes with sniper rifles trained on the cops.
Yeah. Huh.
Cross the fucking line.
Nice.
And they were like, we're cool. It was
Yeah.
the Bureau of Land Management, too.
Oh.
Some fucking silly-ass organization that has no constitutional
You know,
authority.
another thing we got to be vigilant of that I noticed here in the last couple of days is the usurpation of words for certain purposes,
Yeah.
I think is powerful.
Words, wordplay, spells.
Spells being used,
Spelling.
and people trying to claim, certain camps trying to claim words for their own,
Mm.
like the term logical.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that in a Occupy Democrats meme, and
Cute.
like I said, I don't normally get flippant or triggered easily these days,
Yeah,
but that did because I'm like, you don't even know what that word means.
right.
Like this is just slaves talking to other slaves about different
Slave.
types of slavery.
Slave combo, yeah.
Yeah.
Eat a dick.
But okay, so E-Verify, right? The notion would be that like you could be walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
Mind your own fucking business, and a camera sees you and identifies your face, logs you, and decides you were here at this point this time. Now, this would go hand in hand with someone's logic that I have nothing to hide, so why should this bother me?
Of course.
Right? Because I wasn't, this would actually help me not be implicit in a crime. But my argument for that is listen, it doesn't matter whether you committed a crime or not. If the authorities want you to be convicted of a crime, they're going to do everything humanly possible to make it look like you did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have FaceApp, which is an app that anybody could use. And I would believe that FaceApp probably came from another source, another deeper source before it made its way to the mass public.
Before it became commercial.
So, that being said, they could put you where they want to put you. You know what I mean? A couple of keystrokes. And the worst part about Ohio is, for those of us that live here, is that this system, just to put in perspective, would you want to know how many individuals are able to access the system? 33,000. 33,000 Ohio officials can access this system that includes Real ID and Verify. Okay, now, to put it in perspective, a state just south of us, Kentucky, only has some 34 individuals that can access that system. 33,000 fucking people can basically look up what the government has compiled as your dossier. A list of any time it's been recorded where you were, from IDs, license plate scanners to driver's license, being pulled over, all that shit.
How many of those 33,000 do you think are plants, too, that'll just download all that to give to the feds?
Exactly.
I mean, they act like they're not building a database, but how hard would it be, even with 43 individuals, let alone 33,000, to get a plan in there to just download it in some crazy thumb drive?
It makes me think of Mr. World.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the god of information.
It was also
Mr. World from American Gods.
He was also the liar.
Yeah. He was built, his power was built off the notion of garnering information from other people. And don't kid yourselves, all of you out there listening, even if you're not from Ohio, even if you're from another state, the state has a dossier on you.
Yeah.
They have a dossier on every single person.
Because corporations do, and we all know the government and corporations are married behind closed doors.
Yeah, oligarchy and whatnot. But that's the story.
I wanted to trigger our Christian conservative listeners.
Okay.
Because if you look at it for all of its totality, basically I'll use a quote from Congressman Ron Paul, former Congressman Ron Paul. He said, eventually there may be requirements and further federal mandates to include within your Real ID fingerprints, biometric scans, an RFID chip in your retina scan or blood test. This is slavery.
Yeah.
So the Christian conservative fellows who are worried about the mark of the beast being the RFID, this is the last stop on the road
Yeah.
for something that you carry outside of your body. The next step is getting chipped
Yeah.
or getting a digital tattoo or whatever it is that they've figured out.
Yeah.
This is literally it. This is the last step
Yeah.
on the road to full slavery.
It's like a series of beta testing.
Yeah.
They could have done it for years, but, and you know, that's the problem, like, when we go back to, like, Alex Jones and stuff like that. Like, he is, I almost want to think he's a plant because he just makes, like, anybody who's logical about this seem like they're tepid. Like, we're milquetoast because we don't take it to its extreme, right? But anybody that believes him is just as dumb as he is. But the problem is like, and I think it is with a lot of the stuff they do, it's all slow bleed. It happens over time. It's not something that happens every time he's like, oh, this is going to happen in 3 months. Da, 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 da. No, it's not.
Well, he's the same motherfucker that sat down on a local access TV show that said they were going to fly planes into buildings in New York City and blame it on Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know a broken clock's right twice a day, but he's at least the most vocal rabid sheepdog that we have. You know, he might be on some crazy shit. I honestly wonder too, like, if the only reason why they're able to get these things off and move society down the totalitarian rabbit hole is because people aren't willing to stand the fuck up and say no.
Yeah.
Maybe you need some crazy motherfuckers to fire some shots or do some things.
That's true, but the thing is that the reason nobody stands up and does anything is because it's so slow and creeping over time that nobody notices it from generation to generation. Like, think about it. From our generation to our parents' generation, like, things have moved incredibly slow.
Yeah.
How much is different between us and them other than the internet?
No, there's quite a bit that's different with personal liberty.
But you could take the internet as something, it's a tool of technology, just like from our parents' generation to their parents' generation and the notion of television.
Mm-hmm.
And take it back a step further. You know, your grandparents and their parents, your great-grandparents, and the notion of radio and stuff like that. Like, those things, to me, aren't the litmus test for it all. Those are just things.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're tools to be used.
Baubles and trinkets.
Yeah. But, like, other than that, from when it comes to surveillance, from generation to generation, hasn't really changed all that much. We knew they were wiretapping phones in the 30s.
Right. But now they've got access to forward-facing and rear-facing cameras and GPS and sound from a high-definition microphone that everyone carries in their pocket. They had, just put in microphones into cable boxes when we were teenagers.
But you marketed it as something that's going to help with your whatever fucking technology that you have.
Right, well, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. It's not even that's the thing, though. Double-edged sword infers that both sides are equally great. But the problem is that...
Well, I think one side is great for the fact that, everyone enjoys, like, just say the cell phones. They enjoy the high-quality calling, the ability to make take pictures, do selfies, do like with the new... you can do live on just about every single social media platform. But at the same time,
But the thing is
they're watching you.
They allowed that windfall, like that backlash on whatever they were doing, so that they could do it.
Mm-hmm.
They understood that, like, there was going to be some collateral damage to giving us the ability to record anything we wanted at any given time. You know what I mean? Like, but they knew that the benefits outweighed the consequences of what they did.
Right.
They realized that whatever they were doing, you can take this back. We knew, before our lives even really began, everybody understood that the police were beating the shit out of people behind closed doors.
Right.
But it took someone with a camcorder to show us them beating the shit out of Rodney King. I
think there's a stark difference, though. I think everything, like we talked about before with the Faustian pentagram ritual that was 9/11, everything changed on 9/11. Because on, 9/12, everything was cool. Everybody loved and worshipped the police. They loved and worshipped the firefighters. All this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But ever since then, it's been a steep decline.
But that kind of
started seeing these cops in retired military gear imposing free speech zones. You know what I mean?
But those kind of acts, like 9/11, that change the core, like that you could see it's on the proverbial Richter scale of society itself. You could see that kind of arc, but those kinds of big quakes don't happen often.
Right.
It's a big quake and then subsequent aftershock, and then it dissipates again until you see these little tiny blips on the radar over time. And then you wait about 30 or 40 years for a new generation to come in, and then you do another one of those fuckers.
Yeah.
And raise up the ante. And it to me, it almost coincides with technology itself.
One of the interesting things about the Season of Sacrifice that we talked about before, Pasiel, in one of his speeches on the Season of Sacrifice, where he talks about how the beginning of the spring equinox, people go back and forth between 319 and 322, but, the Skull and Bones, 322 is their number.
Yeah.
So it must be 322 is the beginning of the Season of Sacrifice, and it goes on until May 1st or May Day.
Yeah.
But one of the days that they historically like, and he breaks down all of the different things that have started, military actions and all these other things that have been started on 419 and 420. They love those days.
Yeah.
For some reason. He said, I won't get into it. Didn't say he didn't know why. He just wouldn't tell anybody why.
Yeah.
But he's like, those are the days you must be extra vigilant. So it's interesting because we're recording today on April 18th.
So 420.
So
also known as the official, I won't even say unofficial, it's the official holiday of stoners.
Yeah, stoner
Everywhere.
holiday.
Blowing that smoke.
Stay sleepy, my friends.
I don't do it anymore.
No, you can't.
I can't. But, I have responsibilities.
Yeah.
But
we don't live in a free society.
I like that other people do.
Yeah.
You
Fight the power, you.
Right? But
maybe one day we'll fight the power again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, and I think this about wraps up the show, and it could wrap into a good segue to the end of the show is you can help us fight the power on a 24/7 basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
It requires only a few keystrokes on your part. Here's what you do. And, you hear this at the end of the show, but that's the thing. We don't have any commercials.
No.
So this isn't segue of commercials, so you go ahead and fast forward this if you really feel strongly about it. But all you have to do is go over that Patreon page. You donate $1 a month, you get raw episodes. You get some bumper stickers if you donate more. And you go further down the road, you get to decide what the fuck we're going to talk about that day.
That's fine.
You know what I mean? So go over there to Patreon, donate $1 once a month.
Yeah.
$1. That's
whatever you want.
That's literally a 12th or a 13th of what Amazon is going to charge you for whatever entertainment you're going to watch on there. And we give you an hour every week.
And we're not trying to brainwash you.
No. We're trying to give you truth.
For sure.
But
I'd even be fine with some iTunes and Stitcher reviews.
That's what I was going to say. Another way to contribute is reviews. And we appreciate them.
The thing that really kind of twerks my nipple, like we're still getting, we just got 2 more YouTube subscribers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But if everybody just went, for the numbers we have for these podcast downloads, we could have already accomplished this a long time ago. If you guys would be kind enough to just subscribe to the Bones and Tubs channel on YouTube, once we hit 100, we can make our unique name.
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is we give you guys a lot of stuff. We try to get the word out, and we're asking very little keystrokes.
We really need your help, though.
Keystrokes.
The most valuable thing you can give us is your attention.
Yeah.
Or your dollar bills.
Exactly. $1. $1 of one eye.
One eye. Money.
Can take us down the path of being able to break the chains of the drudgery of the day to day.
Once we break our chains, we will then summarily break everyone's chains.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Who knows? You never know what's going to happen if we were able to break those chains. We might, do more than one show a week.
We might just be staying on the microphone.
Yeah. So,
have other people that are like-minded be on the microphone.
Exactly.
Monies.
That's one thing we've been talking about. Anybody out there that knows any experts in certain fields, get in touch with us, because we actually do want to get a couple people on the show that are experts on things.
We have the technology.
Actually doing interviews on the show. But that being said, that's my little plug. That took all of a minute.
Yeah.
To let you know, hey, if you appreciate us, let us know.
Hey, we hope you enjoy what we're doing. We'd also like your help. We need your help. Please help us. Please fucking help.
But we'd like to thank you all for listening. We'd also like to thank our Patreon contributors. We'd like to thank Ryan Simpson for letting us use his music on the show.
Ooh.
And we would like to thank you for continuing to listen. And if you're a new listener, thank you very much.
We love you.
We really do.